At least 37 million displaced people, and that's just a conservative estimate based on a report by Brown University's Costs of War project. The study compiled data on 8 major conflicts the United States either launched or engaged in since 2001. It includes the invasion of Iraq, based on false claims that it had weapons of mass destruction and harbored terrorists who were actually based in areas protected by a U.S. no-fly zone. The conflict displaced over 9 million people, creating a sectarian civil war and catalyzing the rise of ISIS. Now to the war in Syria. Shortly after the conflict broke in 2011, the U.S. played a key role in arming rebel factions. The U.S. then expanded the intervention through airstrikes and ground deployments against ISIS. Over 7 million Syrians have been displaced. Other conflicts include Pakistan, Yemen, and the Philippines, where the U.S. engaged in counterinsurgency operations. 3.7 million people have been displaced in Pakistan. In Yemen, over 4 million are internally displaced in a conflict that has created what the United Nations called the world's worst humanitarian crisis. While in the Philippines, 1.7 million overall, including virtually all residents of the southern city of Marawi, the ground zero of the battle against ISIS-linked militants in 2017. NATO's bombing campaign in Libya led to civil war, which internally displaced over 1 million people. The conflict in Somalia has seen over 4 million, or nearly 50% of its population displaced. And of course, we have Afghanistan with over 5.3 million displaced. An additional 270,000 were added to the list this year, up until the chaotic U.S. troop pullout. At least 37 million people and counting. To put this in perspective, this figure is nearly the equivalent of the population of California, America's most populous state, or as large as the population of Canada. Now, where are they now? Well, some have been accepted by the United States, but most of them are hosted by countries in the Middle East and Asia. Now, the study raises a question of who bears responsibility. Not solely the U.S., it clarifies, taking into consideration all key players, and that includes but not limited to the Taliban, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Iraq's armed factions, as well as other governments. The displacement toll is also exacerbated by pre-existing conditions. There's poverty, climate change, and other forms of abuse and violence, all of which have forced people to leave their homes.